Hello everybody, my name is Manuez and welcome to another Eternal News video series. Today we have some more spoilers, so let's dive right in. The first one is the first of the new champions, and I have to say it's a fairly nice one. I quite like it. So what we get is a base 2-2, which is not that strong, but especially once we get the time requirements, we have a pretty sweet card. I think one thing the way this champion is designed is makes you want to be heavy time, because I think without hitting the time requirement, the champion is going to be pretty bad, while the fire element is sort of a nice bonus, but nothing that is that important. So this champion cares more about the time part than anything else. Like, the fire part is nice, but it's not too relevant. Like, I think, especially because it is hard to meet both early, and only meeting the fire criteria early on, which gives you +1 power the turn it attacks, basically like a temporary ramp for the turn, makes it really hard to attack to get that 1 power without the champion actually dying. So you usually want to focus on the time part to have a 3 power 4/4, which is very robust, especially since it's a multi-faction unit, so it's going to be suffocate proof and it's going to be annihilate proof, which is really good against shadow decks, because those are the 2 best removal cards, and also in general 2 of the best removal spells in the game. It's also torch proof, unlike Champion of Chaos since the nerf, so that's another upside. It's basically has like the stats that I wish Champion of Chaos would have gotten with the nerf, but oh well. So yeah, if you can activate both, it's nice, but the thing is, if you focus on time, you will probably often get the fire part so late that the ramp is only going to be marginal. But sure, if you can like get, say, the time and the fire by turn 4, when you attack the first time, you suddenly have 5 power on turn 4, which can be really nice, accelerating into a 5-drop or into 2 spells on a turn where you otherwise could only do 1 thing. Or another thing is, in Obelisk decks, it basically turns on Obelisk and a turn earlier if it has the fire requirements met, which is kind of a nice thing, because basically once champion attacks, you get the 8 power, so the Obelisk threshold is activated and your team gets +2/+2 instead of +1/1. So that's another like nice interaction. All in all, I expect this card to go really nicely into the Praxis midrange deck that I built a while ago, and might even be an integral part of making some form of like medium-sized, aggressive Praxis deck possible, topping out at like 4 and 5 cost stuff like Bullfire Drake and so on. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, all in all, pretty decent champion. Looking forward to it. Was hoping that Praxis is gonna get sort of an early champion. I was hoping that it might maybe even get a 2-drop champion, but 3-drop champion is probably like the next best thing that Praxis could have gotten. Alright, on to the next card. Next we have Crownwatch Squire. Seemingly innocuous 1-drop, it's a 1 power 1/1, but it has a sweet ultimate. Once it gets becomes a student the first time, so is targeted by a mentor trigger, it turns into a 3/3 for 1 power. So how good this is gonna be depends a lot on how many good and how many cheap mentor cards we get, while also yeah, basically depending on there being a good aggressive deck with enough of these mentor effects. Like, for example, if we get a playable 2-drop mentor card, this guy might actually be really good. If there's only like good 3+ drop mentor cards, it's a lot less impressive, and so on. And the thing is, for example, if the deck that will have most mentor cards will be Horu, then this might also be less appealing than it seems, because unit heavy proactive Horu deck will likely focus on a flying theme and therefore might not be as interested in this guy. For example, using an aerial trainer on this is not ideal because you want to draw a card as well, and you're not gonna draw a card by turning this into a 4/4, unfortunately. Also, yeah, we'll have to see like how Mentor turns out in general, like which Mentor card's gonna have enough of an impact to not be too slow, because having to exhaust a unit, especially if the since I still don't fully know if the unit can be already exhausted, is gonna cost you an attack. If the unit can be exhausted while being targeted by Mentor, then it's less of a big deal. But even then you can only like get the effect a turn delayed, so you wanna do like an attack as a 1/1 on turn 2 and then mentor it after combat to turn it into a 3/3 or bigger. Basically trigger its ultimate. But yeah, all in all, an interesting and potentially promising card. Depends a lot on the context of the set. But might be a staple, might be not particularly interesting depending on what the support looks like. But it's an interesting design, and it's another like good aggressive 1-drop potentially. Alright, and on to the last spoiler. Another mentor card. This time a spell. So mentor is not only something that units can have, it's also something that a spell can have, which is interesting because so far it seemed more like it's gonna be a unit keyword, a unit ability, but no, it's not. So the requirements are pretty hefty, double green, double blue, so you're gonna have to be heavy Horu basically to support this, especially on turn 4. And then it once again depends on whether or not it lets you exhaust an exhausted unit, like mentor an already exhausted unit. Because having to skip an attack, especially if an attacker that has multiple battle skills to draw multiple cards, yeah, means that you might lose out on a good attack in order to use this. I think the most ideal target for this right now is turn 3 Silverwing Familiar, which is very robust and might be ignored initially due to its size, and then turn 3 this, then you get like draw 3 cards for 4 power. But the problem is it's a sorcery, like it's a spell, not a fast spell, so you have to play it on your turn, spend your entire force turn on doing that, and a lot of the time a deck that has something like a Silverwing Familiar doesn't care about like expensive card draw, because you want to build your board, push your advantage, be aggressive. And a deck that cares about drawing these cards a lot of the time just won't have enough units, especially not enough units with enough battle skills to draw a relevant amount of cards, because I think you need to be drawing at least 3 cards with this in order for it to be like a solid card. If this draws less than 3 cards, it's gonna be a bad card, and I think 3 is where it starts to become decent, and 4 is where it starts to become good, basically. So yeah, it also depends a lot on the context, like how many good potential mentor targets for this do we get that we can play before we play this, and if we get a shell that is not aggressive enough but still has enough good targets in order to want this, like maybe there's gonna be like a Horu mid-range deck with enough good targets, with enough battle skills on it, that cares about this, because an aggressive Horu deck with Silverwing Familiars and other flyers probably doesn't want this, and Horu control most likely can't support it. So this is kind of in a weird place for now. We'll have to see more cards in order to judge how playable this is. And also, still, if anyone has more information on whether or not you can mentor an already exhausted unit, would be really helpful. Let me know in the comments. I haven't seen anything specific yet about it, and it's very relevant for properly evaluating the mentor ability. Because if it also costs you basically a full attack and or block on one of your units, that's a much heftier cost than if it doesn't, then you can just attack and then mentor. Alright, that's it for like the 3 new spoilers that we got. Looking forward to see more spoilers. I'm gonna try and bring you videos every day or every other day. Basically, every time there's like 2 to 3 more new spoilers, I plan on making a video. I'm just trying to avoid making videos for like a single card, because then we end up with like 100 to 200 videos at the end of spoiler season. That doesn't sound like a good plan. I usually try to get multiple spoilers from 1 or 2 days into one video and discuss them. It's not the most immediate and fastest way to get the new cards to you, but I think it's like the most sound way of doing it. Alright, let me know in the comments what you guys think of these new cards and the mechanics and so on. I'm getting more and more excited about the new set and starting to brew new decks with the new cards. Gonna be cool. Oh, one last thing that I wanna talk about is there's gonna be an event starting this weekend. So it's gonna be the first real event after the last test event. The prices will be Omens of the Past packs that cannot be opened until the set is released. So we will get packs that we can't open for now, but it's a nice way to prematurely grind packs to crack open once the set goes live. And the like first 5 spoilers that we saw, like each of the cards for one of the 5 alliances, will be shuffled as a playset into your deck in the event. Like for example, if you build a Praxis deck and join the event, you're gonna get 4 Champion of Impulse shuffled in your deck. In addition to the 75 cards you regularly bring. So you can basically sort of already build decks for the given color combinations and try out the first multi-faction spoiler for that combination in the event this weekend. And I think there's also like extra bonuses for like placing high in the given color combination. So you pick a color combination and then get like a placement for the color combination. I think get like additional bonuses as far as I know. And yeah, there's like last time, there's gonna be a set amount of placement games that count, and after that you can just grind value basically. I don't have any like exact information right now on the amount of placement matches, if it's gonna be 3 again or not, and also the exact prices and so on. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the first real event is gonna be like. And yeah, I think it's gonna be great value. Scarlet mentioned somewhere that even without the packs, it's intended that like 03 gives you 2000, gives you an equivalent of the gold value you paid for the entrance. Even though the prices are, as according to what they said, not quite as generous as last time, which I kind of expected because they were very generous. And yeah, it also sounded, since I think he said 03, that they might have changed it to like 3 losses, like in draft basically. But yeah, we will see more of that once the event starts. I think the event's gonna start tomorrow at some point, or early Saturday. I think it's probably gonna be like sometime Friday. Not sure when though. Not sure if there was an exact start time given already. If so, I don't remember it. So if anyone has more information than what I have given here, feel free to post in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, that's it again for this Eternal News video. Exciting times, spoiler season in full swing, new event, plenty of stuff going on. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. See you next time, bye.